Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we're going to talk about their survey, what Games Workshop put on the Warhammer community site so that you, the people, can fill it in. I have no idea why I said any of that the way I did. That was like the worst sentence structure known to man ever, and that one wasn't much better. So I'm just going to move on. Okay, so Games Workshop, they've done this survey. Now, that by itself, for me, personally, I feel is quite a big deal. I feel that shows, again, a significant growth and a significant change in attitude from a company that, let's be totally honest, didn't really care. I'm doing so badly at the no swearing thing. People are genuinely starting to play a game now where it's like spot the point where he nearly swears. Well, there you go, there's your first point. They didn't used to care. They weren't bothered. You could complain all you like. You could say, this is a problem, that's a problem, I don't understand why you're doing this, that, or the other. And the response would be, well, just buy it or go away. And that's it. Things are a little bit different now. They are actually attempting to build up a proper community. They're attempting to actually communicate with the community that already exists. And whilst every other company on Earth likes to throw out survey after survey and spam your email inbox and post flyers through your door and God knows what else, even YouTube, at this point, I think I'd say probably 10% of the time, I don't get an advert, I get a survey where I pick one of the things on the screen. Other companies do it a lot. Games Workshop, to the best of my knowledge, just haven't done it. They just don't do it. This is like a first, or at least it's a first for years. This is Games Workshop actually reaching out to you, to me, and Chuckle Brothers for you there, accidental Chuckle Brothers reference, always welcome, saying to you and to me that they want to know what we think. They want to know what the favourite parts of the different hobbies are. I mean, having taken the survey, they mention Age of Sigmar, they mention Warhammer Fantasy Battles, Necromunda, Warhammer 40k, Blood Bowl, Hobbit. Yeah, I mean, The Hobbit. Is anyone still playing The Hobbit? Is anyone still playing that? Anyone? But leave a comment down below. If you are the one person who's still playing The Hobbit, then, oh my god, let me know, because anyway, I'm just still amazed that they're still selling those. I'm assuming that they have to, because it's part of a contract, but oh dear lord. I digress. So, it's quite a big thing. They mention their major franchises, they mention their major game systems, and they want to know your relationship to them, how long you've been a customer, all of that stuff. The important part of this survey, though, comes from the fact that they are directly asking for feedback. They are asking what they can do better, what things you don't like. And I've seen a few reactions to the survey that have kind of left me rolling my eyes a bit. And I feel like with something like this, especially when it's from a company like Games Workshop, I know this is going to sound very condescending, but I don't see the value in messing it up for the fun of it, or being lazy and not doing it. Because here's the thing, the 40k community especially, we are vocal. We are very vocal. The 40k community has a lot of people that like to talk a lot about 40k, which is great because it makes it more interesting, it makes it more fun, it makes there more people to talk to, which is never a bad thing. But a downside to being a vocal community is that it's very easy to become negative, I think, is the key thing. And negativity is not always misplaced. I'm not saying that everyone should be positive and happy all the time, but when it comes to things like this, when it comes to companies actually finally dipping their toe in the pool of like customer feedback, there's a few things that can happen that will make it very unlikely to happen again. So the first thing is this survey, if you're one of those people who goes, can't be asked, okay, it's only 10 minutes, in fact it took me less than 10 minutes, I would suggest that maybe you do try and be asked. Maybe that you, just whilst watching something, just have it on another screen, have it on a phone, on a tablet, whatever, and actually do be asked, because if enough people take the attitude of I can't be asked, then the survey becomes kind of meaningless and they'll never do it again. And should there come a point later on in time where you think to yourself, man, they did that thing a while ago but nothing ever came of it, I wonder why? Well, that's one of the reasons why, because nobody could be bothered to fill it out. I mean, this is Games Workshop. They are actively trying. They're trying to get opinions. They're actually trying to get feedback. That is genuinely an opportunity that should not be squandered at all, because this is an official thing where they want to know what you think. And if you think, I can't be bothered, then they're just not going to bother doing it again themselves, because well, what's the point? If no one can be bothered to fill it out, why should they be bothered to make it? And thus you lose like a genuine channel of communication between customer and company, one that the company has opened up themselves. Now, I'm not saying that everything that goes into the survey or every bit of feedback they get is going to be acted on. You know, they're not going to react to everything by changing something. But the more people ask for certain things and the more that trends build up, the more chance that something will happen. And the fewer people who respond, the less chance there is of any sort of trend or any sort of kind of repeated answer shows up. In which case, they just do nothing and then they never do one again. It's a similar thing with, I saw a few people who were like, oh, I'm just gonna, everything they've done in the last decade has been shit. Failed immediately. It's been terrible. I'm not even going to bleep, I'm just going to leave it, but I'm going to change it afterwards to terrible anyway. Oh, good job, well done. I've seen people who are like, everything they've done has been terrible. I hate everything. The Primaris are horrible. I hate Age of Sigmar. I hate this, I hate that. Where's Plastic Sisters? I mean, I'm like that, but I'm not going to slam the feedback form with, where's my Plastic Sisters, you bunch of idiots. I'm not going to do that, because that is valueless to them. They don't care about that. They're not going to read that and go, man, this guy hates everything hates everything we've done for the last decade. We'd better change everything we do. No. As soon as you start throwing insults around, as soon as everything starts getting described as trash or garbage or a big pile of crap, they're just gonna delete it. It's just gonna be like, okay, well, this guy's not happy, and that's it. That is all you will get from that sort of reaction to that kind of survey. The thing is, should you just be positive? Should you not mention the things you don't like? Absolutely not. Definitely mention the things you don't like. I did. The part where it's like, is there anything you think we could do better? Is there anything that, you know, needs to be changed? One of the big things that I focused on was price differences, whereby it just doesn't make, like, the price for small single models was way too high, and that if there's a reason for them being so much higher than boxes of multiple models, it would be nice if they could explain why that is, because it might make the price more palatable. That was one of the things I said. Another thing that I said was that whilst I do appreciate the fact that they are trying to bring out things like FAQs, they're doing chapter approved, they're trying to improve the game over time by introducing new rules. For me personally, the age of carrying around 8 books just so I can have a game of 40k, that's not acceptable to me anymore. So is there any way that they could look at distributing rules in a more efficient way? And if so, what way could that be? Now, I don't have an answer to that, but it's still a complaint. It's still a negative. It's still something that I think should be worked on. And I even, I didn't complain, but I said that I thought that I liked the Primaris. I can't remember what my exact words were, but it was, I like the Primaris, I like the design, I like that they're attempting to shift the Space Marines in a slightly different direction. However, I do appreciate that there was a bit of a catch-22 situation, because, you know, you can't really win no matter how you introduce them, but that bringing a ancient and very, very powerful tech priest out of nowhere and just going, oh yeah, he's been working on it, perhaps it could have been set up a little bit better. Now, obviously that's more of a Black Library issue, but still, it's still negative feedback. But this is the thing, it's absolutely possible to give negative feedback in a not unpleasant way. I genuinely saw a screenshot of someone, and I wish I could find this again. If I find it, I think it was on Twitter, I'll put a link to it in the description. It was literally, is there anything that you would like us to change, or whatever it was? And the guy had just written, be better at your jobs. Now, I'm sorry, but if enough people write stuff like that, congratulations, you're never going to get something like this again. They're just not going to bother. What's the point? Like, what is the point of trying to reach out to the community and say, what do you think we could do? If the community then goes, well, I think you suck and you should kill yourself. Alright, well, we just won't ask you again. It's that easy. It's that simple. And the thing is, that sounds melodramatic, me saying that. People will put that. You know that people will put that. You know that people will do that. And you also know that when people do that, it just shuts that line of communication down. They don't bother again. When it came to things like what can be changed, I was like, can we have Plastic Sisters? I mean, that's a genuine thing I put in, because I want Plastic Sisters, god damn it. There's so many ways to be negative without being really negative. You know, you can point out flaws, you can point out things that you're not satisfied with without being an out-and-out jerk about it. That's the other thing. That's one of the big things for me. If you want something, make it clear. Like the rambling, the sheer rambling that a friend of mine put into one of those boxes was unreal. Absolutely unreal. I even said to her, I was like, they're not going to read that. What is that? That's like 8 paragraphs of nothing. What does that even say? And when we went back over it, it was like watching one of my videos. It was just rambling for paragraph upon paragraph about basically nothing that culminated essentially in, I prefer it if there was like more rules for stuff, and that would like summed it all up. When it comes to stuff like this, clear and concise is always the best, because it means that they've got easier ways to pick up on data, they've got easier ways to pick up on trends, on statistics. If you say, I would like you to do this, this, this. For me, it was plastic sisters. I wanted plastic sisters. I'd said reductions in prices on things like Citadel paintbrushes, because I feel they are overpriced compared to the competition, which I think is absolutely true. And what was the other one? Oh, that was it. Do not get rid of Slaanesh. That was my final thing. Slaanesh is vital to the universe. Don't get rid of her. I know it sounds like stuff that should be obvious, but I feel like when you're connected to, I mean, it is a product, but when you're connected to a hobby, when you're connected to a certain thing that you have, a lot of experience or time invested into, when a company says, "Tell me what you think," it's really easy to go, "Well, I hate this and I hate that and I don't like that, but you need to do this, that and the other, and everything I say is true, and ignore everything else, and everything you've done over the last 10 years is terrible, but this is okay." You can't do that. You can't really do that and still fulfill the purpose of what it's supposed to be. If this goes well, I would hope that Games Workshop would actually say, this is what you said to us, this is what we agree with, this is what we're going to try and change. If people respond in a sensible way, I would hope that it becomes a more common thing, whereby we could actually see changes to things like army compositions, we could see things like changes to models, changes to pricing is a big sort of, well, it's hopeful to say the least, and probably very unlikely, but if enough people ask for it, and if people are properly clear and actually say what they want to say without being horrendous about it, we could actually see something come out of this stuff. And I will always advocate for trying to get more communication between a company and a customer base. That to me is never a bad thing. It is never a bad thing. Like, if the end result of a survey from Games Workshop, the first one for years and years, where they actually ask us what we want to see, is that they start asking us more regularly what we want to see, then that's a win. That is absolutely a win. Because if things go the other way, if nothing else, you can say, well, hang on, we said this, and then you've done the complete opposite. Why have you done that? It becomes easier to explain what it is you do and don't like about what a company's doing, and it makes it easier to point out when they're doing stuff that has been proven to not be in the interests of the customer base. I know a lot of this is probably going to seem kind of obvious, but as I say, when you've got that kind of, when something is that close to home, I think it's very easy to lose sight of kind of, I guess, the objective nature of stuff like this. Objectively, it's a good thing that they're reaching out to the customer base. Subjectively, you could want to sit there and rant and rave at the poor sod who's got to read all of this stuff. But what would that actually achieve in the long run? It's the same thing with not responding at all. What does that achieve in the long run? Well, being, abusive and assaulting via a survey is going to mean that we have no more surveys, we have no more feedback through that channel. Not bothering to fill it in and no one really responding to it, again, means that we're just not going to have another one, we're not going to have that feedback through that channel. Responding in a sensible way with stuff you actually do and don't like, phrased in a way that is readable and concise and makes sense, well, the channel stays open. There's more chance of us being able to influence what Games Workshop does and does not do, and if they do something that we don't like, that we've all said we don't like, we can then say, what the hell is this? We said we didn't like this, what's the deal? There's no downside to filling this out. There's no downside to taking the time. There's no downside to making the effort. And there's absolutely downsides to ignoring it or using it as a way to just vent frustration endlessly. Anyway, I'll stop rambling now. I've rambled on enough. Go and take the survey. I think it's genuinely worth doing. And yeah, I'm not going to tell you what to put in it, obviously. I've said what I've put in it. But put whatever you like in. Just don't be a dickhead about it, I guess, is the true message of the video. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you're going to be asking for in the comments below. And in fact, that's actually... No, that's a good idea. I want to know what you're going to put in. So, like, your complaints and your things that you like. I want to see what those are in the comments below, because I'd be interested to see whether there's any sort of general trend towards one thing or another, or whether it's very much a kind of scatter approach of everyone's got different gripes and different things that they're satisfied with. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. It'd be interesting to see what people think and what people are going to fill out for the... Is it the first? I feel like it's at least the first for years, at the very least, surely. Thank you very much for watching. Anyway, video things to click, Patreon, subscribe, all of that. My hands all over the screen, all around there. Click them if you want. Don't click them if you don't want to. Definitely click the link in the description and fill out the thingy. And I'll see you for the next one. Toodaloo.